The big room was full of aliens. All kinds of them. Some had blue skin. Some had too many eyes. Others looked like walking rocks. They all sat around a huge table that glowed with light. This was the Galactic Council, the most important place in the galaxy. Ambassador Veltar stood up. He was tall and made of crystal. When he moved, his body made tiny ringing sounds. He pointed at a small screen that showed a blue planet far away. "Look at this," he said. His voice was cold and mean. "Earth, the planet of humans. Remember them?" The other aliens started to laugh. It was not nice laughing. It was the kind of laughing that hurt. "Oh yes, we remember," said another alien. This one had green skin and 4 arms. The scary humans. So frightening. So dangerous. More laughing filled the room. Veltar smiled. It was an ugly smile. 1,000 years ago they came to our space. They had small ships, weak weapons, but they fought like wild animals. They never gave up. They scared us. An alien that looked like a big bug clicked its mouthparts. "Not anymore. We trapped them on their little planet. They cannot leave. They are like pets in a cage now. For 1,000 years they have been stuck there," Veltar said, "fighting each other, killing each other. So stupid, so weak. The great human threat is just a joke now." The aliens laughed even more. Some of them hit the table with their hands or claws. The sound echoed through the big room. "Remember their leader back then?" asked the green alien. "What was his name? Commander something?" "It does not matter," Veltar said. "They are nothing now. We watch them sometimes. They still fight wars on their tiny world. They still destroy their own cities, pathetic. But Veltar was wrong. Very wrong. Far away on Earth, in a place deep underground, Admiral Jinha stood in a dark room. The room was huge, bigger than 10 football fields. The walls were covered with screens. Each screen showed stars. Thousands and thousands of stars. Jinha was old. His hair was white. His face had lines from many years of worry. But his eyes were young. They burned with fire, the fire of someone who had never given up. Behind him, Dr. Harin worked at a computer. The computer was not like the old ones. This one was special. It could think faster than a human brain. It could solve problems that would take normal computers years to figure out. Harin was younger than Jinha. She had black hair tied back in a simple way. Her hands moved quickly over the computer controls. Numbers and pictures flashed on the screen so fast that normal eyes could not follow them. "Admiral," she said without looking up. "The test is complete." Jinha turned around. And Harin smiled. It was the first time she had smiled in months. "It works. The quantum fold drive works perfectly." Jinha walked over to her computer. On the screen was a picture of a ship. It was not like the old human ships. This one was beautiful, smooth, it looked alive. "How fast?" Jinha asked. "Faster than anything the aliens have," Harin said. "We can go from Earth to the edge of the galaxy in 3 days. Their fastest ships need 3 months. Jinha nodded slowly. "And they cannot see us coming?" "No, sir. The fold drive does not use normal space. We travel through somewhere else. Their sensors cannot find us there." For the first time in years, Jinha felt hope. Real hope. "How many ships do we have ready?" he asked. Harin pressed a button. The big screen on the wall changed. Now it showed Earth. But this Earth looked different. Around the planet were hundreds of small dots. Each dot was a ship. 800 ships, sir," Harin said. "All hidden in space stations behind the moon. Behind Mars, some are hiding in the asteroid belt. The aliens think we only have a few old ships left." Jinha looked at the ships on the screen. Each one represented years of secret work. Years of building and planning and hoping. The aliens had caged Earth. But they had forgotten something important about cages. Sometimes the thing inside the cage grows stronger. "What about weapons?" Jinha asked. Harin pressed another button. The screen changed again. Now it showed the inside of one ship. The inside was full of strange devices, things that glowed, things that hummed with power. "We studied their weapons for 1,000 years, Harin said. "We learned how they work. Then we made them better, much better." She pointed to a long tube in the middle of the ship. "This is a gravity cannon. It can make a small black hole, just for a few seconds, but that is enough to destroy any ship." Jinha raised an eyebrow. "A black hole? That seems dangerous." "Very dangerous, sir, but only to our enemies." She pointed to another device. "This one breaks apart atoms. It can cut through any armor, any shield. And this? Jinha asked, pointing to something that looked like a crystal. Mind weapon, sir. It makes enemy crews see things that are not there. Makes them fight each other instead of us. Jinha was quiet for a long time. He thought about the aliens laughing in their big council room. He thought about 1,000 years of being trapped on Earth. He thought about all the humans who had died wanting to see the stars again. Admiral, Harin said softly, there is something else. Jinha looked at her. We found their communication networks, she said. All of them. Every alien species talks to each other through quantum signals. We can hear everything they say. But more than that, she paused, more than that, we can control their signals. We can shut down their communications. All of them. Across the entire galaxy. At the same time, Jinha felt his heart beat faster. You mean, yes, sir. When we attack, they will be blind. They will not be able to call for help. They will not be able to warn each other. Each alien fleet will fight alone. Jinha walked to the big window. Through it, he could see Earth's blue sky. For 1,000 years, that sky had been a prison wall. Soon it would be a doorway, Dr. Harin, he said. Yes, sir? Send the message to all fleet commanders. Tell them to prepare their crews. Tell them to check their weapons one more time. He turned around. His eyes were cold as winter stars. Tell them it is time to remind the galaxy what happens when you cage a human. Harin smiled. This time it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had waited a very long time for revenge. Yes, sir. What should I tell them about our mission? Jinha looked at the screen showing all their hidden ships. 800 vessels, each one carrying the hopes and anger of an entire world. Tell them we are going to teach the galaxy a lesson, he said. Tell them we are going to show these aliens what 1,000 years of human thinking can create. He paused. Tell them that the humans are coming home. The first sign that something was wrong came from the outer rim. Commander Zixtal was sitting in his command chair on the battleship Star Crusher. He was drinking his morning drink when his communications officer started making worried sounds. Sir, the officer said. His voice was shaking. I cannot reach Command Central. Zixtal put down his drink. What do you mean? The quantum communication array, sir. It is not working. I cannot send messages. I cannot receive messages, nothing. Zixtal frowned. The quantum communications never failed. Never. They had been working perfectly for millions of years. Check. The backup systems, he ordered. The officer's fingers moved quickly over his control panel. His face turned pale. Sir, the backup systems are also down. All of them. Across the galaxy, the same thing was happening. On 17 different space stations. On 43 different planets. In hundreds of different ships. The aliens were losing their voices, but they did not know why. On Earth, in the secret command center, Dr. Harin watched her screens with satisfaction. Numbers flowed across the displays like water. Green lights blinked everywhere. All communication networks are under our control, she reported to Admiral Jinha. They cannot talk to each other anymore. Jinha nodded. Phase 2? Ready, sir. Jinha pressed a button on his command chair. Across the solar system, hidden doors opened. Behind the moon, space stations that looked like rocks split apart. From inside came ships. Beautiful, deadly ships that moved like living things. Captain Quan stood on the bridge of his ship, the Defiance. Around him, his crew worked at their stations. They had trained for this day for 20 years. Every drill, every simulation, every moment had been leading to this. Fold drive is charged, his navigation officer reported. All weapon systems are ready, said his weapons. Officer, crew is at battle stations, said his first officer. Quan looked at the main screen. It showed empty space, but he knew that in a few minutes it would show alien ships. Enemy ships that had kept his people trapped for 1,000 years. Admiral Jinha to all ships, came the voice over the communications system. Today we take back what is ours. Today we show them what humans can do. Today we go home. Quan felt his heart beating fast. All ships, this is Captain Quan, follow my lead. Remember your training. Make every shot count. He turned to his helm officer. Take us out. The Defiance flickered and disappeared. One moment it was near Earth. The next moment it was far away near the edge of human space. Where the alien blockade waited. The blockade was huge. 12 big ships called dreadnoughts. Each one was the size of a small city. Around them were 40 smaller ships. All of them had weapons that could destroy planets. Admiral Throck sat in his command center on the lead dreadnought. He was old. He had been guarding Earth for 200 years. It was boring work. The humans never tried to leave anymore. They had given up long ago. Throck was eating his lunch when alarms started going off. "Sir," his sensor officer shouted. "Ships, human ships. They just appeared out of nowhere." Throck dropped his food. "What, how many ships?" I cannot count them all, sir. There are so many." Throck ran to the main screen. What he saw made his blood freeze. The space around his blockade was full of human ships, hundreds of them. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of fish. "But these fish had teeth. How did they get here?" Throck whispered. His science officer was checking his instruments with shaking hands. "Sir, they did not use normal space travel. They appeared through some kind of fold in space itself." "That is impossible," Throck said. "Yes, sir, but they did it anyway." Throck grabbed his communications device. "All ships, red alert. Prepare for battle. Send a message to—" He stopped. The communications device was dead. "Sir," his communications officer said, "all our communications are down. We cannot call for help." Throck felt fear creeping into his heart. Real fear. He had not felt it for centuries. On the Defiance, Captain Quan watched the alien ships try to turn toward them. They were big and strong, but they were also slow. Very slow. "Target the lead ship," Quan ordered. "Fire gravity cannon." A blue light shot out from the Defiance. It hit the alien dreadnought in the center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then space began to bend around the ship. The ship's metal hull started to stretch. Then it started to break apart. In 30 seconds, the dreadnought was gone, sucked into a tiny black hole that appeared and disappeared like a soap bubble. "Target destroyed," reported the weapons officer. Quan smiled. "Next target." Around the blockade, the battle was not really a battle. It was a lesson. The human ships moved like dancers. They were everywhere at once. The alien ships fired their weapons, but the humans were never where the weapons hit. The human ships fired back. Gravity cannons made black holes that ate alien ships. Atom breakers cut through armor like knives through paper. Mind weapons made alien crews see monsters that were not there. Admiral Throck watched his fleet die around him. Ship after ship disappeared in flashes of light. He could not understand it. His weapons were the best in the galaxy. His ships were the strongest. How were these primitive humans destroying them so easily? "Sir!" his tactical officer screamed. "The humans are not fighting like we expected. Their ships can predict where we will shoot before we shoot." "That is impossible." "Sir, they are using quantum computers to read our targeting systems. They know what we will do before we do it." Throck felt his world falling apart. Everything he knew about war was wrong. Everything his people had learned about fighting was useless. A human ship appeared right in front of his dreadnought. It was small, beautiful, it looked harmless, but Throck knew it could kill his ship in seconds. The human ship sent a message. The voice was calm and cold. "This is Captain Quan of the human fleet. Surrender now and you will live. Fight us and you will die. You have 10 seconds to decide." Throck looked around his bridge. Half his crew was dead or wounded. His weapons were broken. His shields were failing. His ship was dying, "Sir?" his first officer asked. "What are your orders?" Throck closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were full of defeat. "Lower our weapons," he said quietly. "Send the surrender signal." Around him, the other alien ships did the same. One by one, their weapons powered down. The great blockade that had trapped humanity for centuries was broken. Captain Quan received the surrender signals on his bridge. Around him, his crew cheered. But Quan did not cheer. This was just the beginning. "Admiral Jinha," he said into his communicator, "the outer blockade is destroyed. We are ready for Phase 3. Jinha's voice came back strong and proud. "Well done, Captain." All fleets report the same results. 17 blockade groups destroyed. 0 human casualties. Quan felt a moment of satisfaction. Then he remembered how big the galaxy was. How many alien fleets were still out there? "What are your orders, sir?" "We move deeper," Jinha said. "We show them that the blockade was not their main defense. It was just the door, and we just kicked it down." On his screen, Quan could see the alien ships floating helplessly in space. Their crews were alive but defeated. These aliens had guarded Earth for centuries. They had been confident. They had been sure of their power. Now they knew the truth. Humans were not pets in a cage. They were tigers, and they had been getting stronger while the aliens grew weak. The storm was just beginning. The Galactic Council meeting was not going well. Not well at all. Ambassador Veltar's crystal body was cracking. Little pieces of him were falling on the floor. This happened when his kind got very scared or very angry. Right now he was both. 17 systems, he shouted. 17 systems are dark. No communications. No reports. Nothing. The council chamber was full of noise. Aliens were shouting in dozens of different languages. Some were crying. Some were making angry sounds. A few were just sitting quietly, looking shocked. The big green alien with 4 arms was waving all his hands in the air. This cannot be happening. The humans are trapped on their planet. We made sure of it. Apparently we did not make sure of anything, said the bug-like alien. His voice was bitter. The blockade fleets are gone. All of them. 43 fleets gone. A new alien stood up. This one looked like a walking tree. His voice was deep and slow. How many ships did the humans have? Our intelligence said they only had a few old vessels. Veltar made a sound like breaking glass. Our intelligence was wrong. Very wrong. Suddenly, all the screens in the council chamber turned on. Every screen, even the ones that were supposed to be broken. The aliens stopped shouting and stared. A human face appeared on the screens. It was Admiral Jinha. His hair was white, but his eyes were young and hard. Behind him stood Dr. Harin. She was holding a device that looked like a small star. Good morning, Jinha said. His voice was calm, too calm. I hope we are not interrupting anything important. The aliens in the chamber made scared sounds. How was this possible? Their systems were secure. No one could hack into them. No one. Veltar found his voice first. This is impossible. Your quantum firewalls are toys, Harin said. She held up her device. This little thing can break through any computer system in the galaxy. We built it while you were laughing at us. The tree-like alien leaned forward. What do you want, humans? Jinha smiled. It was not a nice smile. We want what we have always wanted. Our freedom. Our place among the stars. The only difference is now we are taking it. You cannot fight the entire galaxy, the green alien shouted. We have millions of ships. Billions of soldiers. You had millions of ships, said a new voice. Captain Quan appeared on the screen next to Jinha. Behind him, the bridge of his ship was busy with activity. Past tense. We have been busy while you were having your meeting. The aliens looked at each other with growing fear. Checking our latest reports, Quan continued. He looked at a small screen. In the last 6 hours, we have destroyed or captured 137 alien fleets. We have taken control of 43 space stations. We have shut down your communications across half the galaxy. The bug alien's mandibles clicked nervously. That is impossible. You would need thousands of ships. We have thousands of ships, Harin said simply. We have been building them for decades. While you thought we were fighting each other on Earth, we were preparing for war against you. Veltar's crystal body was cracking faster now. The temporal barriers. The dimensional locks. We put safeguards in place, Jinha laughed. It was a cold sound. Your safeguards assume we think like you. We do not. We think like humans. On the screens, the view changed. Now the aliens could see space battles happening in real time. Human ships were everywhere. They moved like living things. They appeared and disappeared. They seemed to be in several places at once. The alien ships looked slow and clumsy in comparison. Their weapons missed their targets. Their shields failed. Their crews panicked. How? Whispered the tree alien. How are you doing this? Dr. Harin stepped forward. You want to know our secret? Time, you gave us 1,000 years to think, to plan, to evolve. She pointed to the battle scenes on the screens. Those ships you see? They do not exist in normal space all the time. They phase in and out of reality. Your weapons cannot hit something that is not completely real. And our weapons, Quan added. They work by changing the basic laws of physics. We learned how to make gravity obey us. We learned how to control time itself. An alien that looked like a floating jellyfish spoke up. This violates everything we know about science. Your science, Jinha corrected. Human science is different. We do not just study the universe. We make it do what we want. The view on the screens changed again. Now it showed a massive space station. It was shaped like a ring and was bigger than most planets. This was Central Command. The heart of galactic civilization, no, Veltar breathed. You cannot reach Central Command. It is protected by the Infinity Fleet. 1,000,000 ships guard it. 1,000,000 ships guarded it, Quan corrected. Past tense again. The screen showed human ships surrounding the great station. They looked tiny compared to it. But the aliens knew better now. Size did not matter when fighting humans. Surrender terms are simple, Jinha said. All alien fleets will stand down immediately. All weapons will be powered off. All military commanders will report to the nearest human ship. The green alien jumped to his feet. Never. We will not bow to primitives. You are not bowing to primitives, Harin said. You are surrendering to your superiors. She pressed a button on her device. The screens changed one more time. Now they showed Earth. But this Earth looked different. It was surrounded by hundreds of space stations, thousands of ships, massive construction projects that stretched across the entire solar system. While you kept us caged on one planet, Harin continued, we turned that planet into a fortress. We built a military that could conquer galaxies. We prepared for the day when we would be free. And that day is today, Jinha added. The tree alien was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, what will happen to us if we surrender? You will be treated the way you treated us, Jinha replied. You will be contained, watched, studied, until you learn to behave. And if we refuse? Veltar asked. His voice was barely a whisper. Captain Quan answered. Then you will learn why your ancestors were afraid of humans in the first place. On the screens, a new image appeared. It showed a planet, a beautiful world with blue oceans and green continents. But as the aliens watched, the planet simply changed. Its surface began to shift. The oceans turned different colors. The continents moved. We can reshape worlds now, Harin explained. We can move stars. We can create new forms of life. We can do things that your science says are impossible. The planet on the screen finished changing. Now it looked like Earth, exactly like Earth. We made a copy of our home world, Jinha said, just because we could. Just to show you what 1,000 years of human thinking can accomplish. The aliens in the council chamber were silent. They finally understood. The creatures they had caged were not the same creatures they were fighting now. These humans had evolved. They had become something new. Something more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. You have two choices, Jinha continued. Surrender now and live under our rule, or fight us and face extinction. Choose quickly. We have work to do. The tree alien stood up slowly. His ancient voice filled the chamber. On behalf of the Galactic Council, we surrender. One by one, the other aliens nodded. Even Veltar, his crystal body nearly shattered, gave his agreement. Jinha nodded. Smart choice. Captain Quan, begin Phase 4. Dr. Harin, prepare the reconstruction protocols. The screens went dark. The aliens sat in silence, knowing their age of power was over. The humans had returned, and they were nothing like the species that had been caged 1,000 years ago. They were something far more dangerous. They were something that had learned to turn imprisonment into strength. The galaxy belonged to humanity now. The aliens did not give up easily. 3 days after the surrender, secret messages flew across the galaxy. Messages that the aliens thought humans could not read. They were wrong. Dr. Harin read every single one. Admiral, she said to Jinha as they stood in the command center. They are planning something big. 47 different species. They are gathering every ship they have left, every weapon, every soldier. Jinha looked at the star map on the big screen. Red dots showed where alien fleets were moving. There were many red dots. Very many. How many ships? He asked. Our computers are still counting, Harin replied. But it looks like more than 50,000 vessels. Maybe more. Captain Quan's voice came over the communication system from his ship. Admiral, we are getting reports from all our scout ships. The aliens are calling this Operation Final Silence. They want to end the human threat forever. Jinha was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. They still do not understand, sir? Harin asked. They think this is the same war they have always fought, Jinha explained. Big fleets, lots of guns. Whoever has more ships wins. They do not realize that humans do not fight wars the old way anymore. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Korvax of the combined alien fleet stood on his flagship. Around him, the largest military force in galactic history was gathering. Ships from 47 different worlds, each one carrying weapons that could destroy stars. Korvax was old. He had fought many wars. He had never lost a battle. His flagship was called Galaxy's Revenge. and it was the size of a small moon. Its main weapon could crack planets in half. Status report, Korvex ordered. His aide, a small blue creature with 6 eyes, looked at his charts. 53,000 ships ready for battle, sir. More arriving every hour. The humans will not survive this attack. Korvex nodded. And their location? Our scouts have found their main fleet, sir. They are hiding near the Vortex Nebula. Only about 2,000 ships. Korvex laughed. 2,000 against 53,000? This will be over quickly. But Korvex was wrong. Very wrong. The human fleet was not hiding near the Vortex Nebula. The human fleet was everywhere. And nowhere, and in places that did not exist until the humans wanted them to exist. Dr. Harin stood in a room that should not have been possible. The room was inside her ship, but it was also bigger than her ship. The walls showed stars, but the stars were not real. They were windows into other dimensions. Temporal displacement is ready, reported one of her technicians. All enemy fleets are locked onto our timeline sensors. Harin nodded. Quantum phase generators? Online and ready, ma'am. We can phase any of our ships out of normal space in less than 1 second. Reality anchors? Fully charged. We can change the laws of physics in a radius of 10 light years around each ship. Harin looked at the readings on her instruments. The alien fleet was moving toward them. 53,000 ships, all confident they would win. They had no idea what they were about to face. Dr. Harin, to all human ships, she said into her communicator. Remember, we are not just fighting a war. We are teaching a lesson. Show them what evolution looks like. Admiral Korvex stood on his bridge as his massive fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. In front of them was the Vortex Nebula. Somewhere in that swirling cloud of gas and stars, the human fleet was waiting. Scan for enemy ships, Korvex ordered. His sensor officer worked at his controls. After a moment, he looked up with confusion. Sir, I am reading some very strange things. What kind of strange things? The sensors show human ships, but they are not all in the same time, sir. Some of them seem to be fighting battles that happened yesterday. Others are fighting battles that have not happened yet. Korvex frowned. That is impossible. Fix your sensors. Sir, I have checked them 3 times. The readings are correct. The human ships are scattered across different time streams. Before Korvex could respond, alarms started ringing all over his ship. Sir, his tactical officer shouted. Human ships are appearing all around us. Korvex looked at his main screen. Human ships were suddenly everywhere, but they were not normal ships. These ships flickered in and out of reality. Sometimes they were solid. Sometimes they were like ghosts. Fire all weapons, Korvex ordered. His fleet opened fire. 53,000 ships shooting at once. The space around the human fleet lit up like a small sun. Energy beams and missiles filled the void. But the human ships were not there anymore. They had phased out of normal space just as the weapons arrived. The alien fleet was shooting at empty space. Then the humans fired back. Captain Quan watched from his bridge as the alien fleet tried to understand what was happening to them. His ship, the Defiance, was currently existing in 17 different dimensions at the same time. His weapons could fire from any of those dimensions. Target the flagship, Quan ordered. Use the temporal displacement cannon. Yes, sir, his weapons officer replied. Firing. A beam of twisted light shot from the Defiance. It hit Admiral Korvex's ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the massive vessel began to change. Parts of it became older. Other parts became newer. The front of the ship looked like it had just been built. The back looked like it had been rusting for centuries. The middle section flickered between different versions of itself. On the bridge, Korvex watched his crew age and grow young again over and over. What is happening? He screamed. Sir, his science officer said. His voice was shaking. They have trapped us in a time loop. We are experiencing past, present, and future all at the same time. Around them, the battle was not going well for the aliens. Every time they fired their weapons, the human ships simply were not there. Every time the humans fired back, alien ships died in impossible ways. One alien cruiser was hit by a weapon that made its atoms forget how to stay together. The ship just fell apart like sand. Another ship was struck by something that reversed its gravity. The crew found themselves pressed against the ceiling while their own ship tried to fly apart. A third vessel was hit by a beam that made it exist backwards through time. The ship began to unexplode, unfire its weapons, and unarrive at the battle. Dr. Harin monitored the battle from her impossible room. Status report, she requested. Enemy fleet is down to 40,000 ships, reported one of her officers. Our losses are 0. Excellent. Begin phase 2 of the demonstration. Yes, ma'am. Activating the reality storm. Space itself began to change around the alien fleet. The laws of physics started to break down. Up became down. Fast became slow. Hot became cold and then hot again. Some alien ships found themselves flying backwards while their engines pushed them forward. Others discovered that their laser beams had turned into flowers. A few ships simply forgot that they were supposed to be made of metal and turned into clouds of butterflies. Admiral Korvex, still trapped in his time loop, finally understood. The humans were not just fighting them, they were playing with them. Like cats playing with mice. Send surrender signal, he ordered. His voice was tired and defeated. Sir, his communications officer replied, we surrendered 5 minutes from now, but it has not happened yet. Korvex closed his eyes. He was beginning to understand why his ancestors had feared humanity. These were not the same creatures his people had caged. These were something new, something that could make the impossible happen just because they wanted it to. All ships, he broadcast to his fleet. Stop fighting. Surrender immediately. We cannot win this. Across the alien fleet, ships began powering down their weapons, not because they were out of ammunition or because they were damaged. They surrendered because they finally understood that they were not fighting humans anymore. They were fighting evolution itself, and evolution always won. The war ended not with explosions, but with silence. Across the galaxy, alien fleets stopped fighting. Their commanders looked at their screens and saw things that should not exist. Human ships that were in 2 places at once, weapons that fired backwards through time, space itself bending like soft metal. They were not losing a war. They were watching the universe change around them. The formal surrender ceremony took place on Central Station, the great ring-shaped station that had been the heart of galactic government for millions of years. Now it belonged to humanity. Admiral Jin Ha walked through the station's main corridor. His footsteps echoed in the huge space. Behind him walked Dr. Harin and Captain Quan. They wore simple human uniforms. No fancy decorations, no golden medals. They did not need them. The corridor led to the Grand Assembly Hall. This was where the Galactic Council used to meet, where they had laughed at humanity, where they had made jokes about the primitives trapped on Earth. The hall was full of aliens now, but they were not laughing. They sat quietly in their seats. Their heads were down. Some were shaking with fear. Others just stared at the floor. At the front of the hall stood a simple wooden podium. It looked very plain compared to the fancy alien technology all around it. But that was the point. Humans did not need fancy things to show their power. Jinha walked to the podium. The hall became completely quiet. Every alien in the room was watching him. 1,000 years ago, Jinha began, his voice calm and clear. You put us in a cage. You said we were too dangerous to be free. You said we were too primitive to join your civilization. He paused and looked around the room. His eyes met the crystal form of Ambassador Veltar. The alien's body was cracked and dim. He looked very old suddenly. You were right about one thing, Jinha continued. We were dangerous. But you were wrong about everything else. Dr. Harin stepped forward. She held a small device in her hands. It looked like a glowing crystal. This device contains the complete history of human development over the past 1,000 years. Every discovery, every invention, every breakthrough that led us to this moment. She placed the device on the podium. You thought you were containing us. You were actually creating us. Every year in that cage made us stronger. Every day of imprisonment made us smarter. Every moment of being told we were nothing made us determined to become everything. Captain Quan joined them at the front of the hall. Your mistake was simple, he said. You thought evolution was slow. You thought change took millions of years. You forgot that humans evolved differently. He gestured to the aliens in the audience. Your species changed slowly, over eons, bit by bit. But humans? We change fast, very fast, especially when we have to. Jinha nodded. 1,000 years ago, we were what you said we were. Primitive, violent, limited, but you gave us time to think. Time to grow, time to become something new. The hall was so quiet that the smallest sound would have echoed. The aliens waited to hear their fate. We could destroy you all, Jinha said simply. Our weapons can unmake planets. Our ships can travel through time. Our minds can reshape reality itself. We could erase every alien species from existence. Many of the aliens in the hall made small, frightened sounds. Some began to shake harder. But we will not do that, Harin said, because we remember what it felt like to be small, to be afraid, to be told we were nothing. She looked around the hall with sad but kind eyes. We remember and we choose to be better than you were. Quan stepped forward. The terms are simple. Every species will return to their homeworlds. Every fleet will be reduced to peaceful ships only. Every weapon of mass destruction will be dismantled. You will not be prisoners, Jinha added. You will be students. You will learn what we learned. You will grow as we grew, and maybe someday you will earn the right to join us among the stars again. Ambassador Veltar found his voice. It was weak and broken. What if we refuse? Jinha smiled. It was not a mean smile. It was patient, like a teacher looking at a stubborn child. You will not refuse, he said, because you are smart enough to know what the alternative would be. The tree-like alien from the council stood up slowly. His ancient voice filled the hall. Will you watch us, guard us, keep us trapped like you were trapped? Yes, Harin answered honestly. For now, until you prove you can be trusted. Until you show us you have learned wisdom. How long? Asked the green four-armed alien. As long as it takes, Quan replied. Maybe decades. Maybe centuries. Maybe millennia. Time means something different to us now. Jinha looked up at the great dome of the assembly hall. Through the transparent ceiling, stars were visible. Billions of stars. Each one calling to the human spirit. The galaxy belongs to humanity now, he said. Not because we conquered it, but because we evolved to deserve it. We spent 1,000 years learning what it means to be truly human. He looked back at the aliens. Now you will learn what it means to earn your place in our universe. Dr. Harin activated the crystal device on the podium. Suddenly, the air above it filled with images, pictures of Earth over the past 1,000 years. Humans working, building, thinking, creating, never giving up, never accepting defeat. This is what we did while you thought we were trapped, she explained. Every day we got better. Every year we grew stronger. Every decade we became more than we were before. The images showed human cities that floated in space. Human minds linked together by quantum computers. Human ships that existed in 17 dimensions at once. Human weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics. We did not just survive our imprisonment, Quan said. We used it. We turned your cage into a classroom. We turned your punishment into our preparation. The images changed. Now they showed the future. Human ships spreading across the galaxy. Human colonies on 1,000,000 worlds. Human children playing among the stars their ancestors had dreamed of reaching. This is tomorrow, Jinha said. This is the galaxy under human guidance. Not human rule guidance. We will teach what we learned. We will share what we discovered. We will help every species become more than they thought possible. He paused. But first you must prove you are ready to learn. The ceremony ended without cheering, without celebration. The aliens filed out quietly, returning to their ships for the journey home. They would spend years, maybe centuries, thinking about what they had seen, learning what humans had learned. That growth came from struggle. That strength came from suffering. That wisdom came from being willing to change. Jinha, Harin, and Quan stood together on the observation deck of Central Station. Through the great windows they could see Earth in the distance, their homeworld. The planet that had been their prison and their teacher. Think they will learn? Quan asked. Some will, Harin replied. The smart ones. The ones who remember that the universe rewards those who adapt. Jinha smiled as he watched human ships moving through space around them. Ships full of explorers and scientists and dreamers. Ships carrying the human spirit to new worlds and new possibilities. The galaxy mocked us for 1,000 years, he said quietly. Called us primitives. Called us failures. Called us nothing. He turned to his friends. His eyes were bright with the fire that had carried humanity from a small blue world to masters of the galaxy. Now they will remember why their ancestors always feared us. Not because we were violent. Not because we were cruel. But because we never ever gave up. Because we always found a way to become more than anyone thought possible. Outside the station, the stars waited. Billions of worlds ready for human footsteps. Countless mysteries ready for human minds. Endless possibilities ready for human hearts. The age of aliens was over. The age of humanity had begun. And the galaxy would never be the same.